Do you guys remember that where that thing happened to those guys that time? You know, where the computer came to life and tried to be friends with Dave? Well, fortunately that hasn't happened, but 2001 isn't an odyssey anymore. Graduation is something that almost every high school student looks forward to. It's our very last day of high school. It's the last time we have to listen to our teachers. And it's the last opportunity I'm going to have to get over 400 of my peers to listen to me while I talk. Our time in high school seems so long, but in actuality is very short compared to the rest of our lives. Everyone always says that these are the greatest years of our lives, and when people go through their midlife crisis, they usually go back to their high school ways. A lot of times, these days we've gone through seem boring, mundane, and completely pointless. But I think if we stop and take a look ahead, we can realize that these past 4 years have really shaped us. So that's what I'm going to say while I have your ear. I'm going to talk about what I believe some of the times ahead will hold. And I'm also going to bend your ear while I tell you a few of the most important things I've learned in high school and why I think they're so important. I know a lot of high school graduation speeches talk about the memories or what the future will hold, but there's a reason for that. These are the most important things that should be on everyone's mind, especially us seniors. But I promise that what I have to say isn't going to be just a recount of the things that have happened or the usual rant about the future. Hopefully I'll be able to express to everyone how great we really are and how happy I am to be a part of this senior class. From every activity I've gone to, been involved in, or heard about, I can remember the names of Northeast students who have shined in their field. From the performances I've seen and all of our daily announcements, I've gotten some of the best memories I'll probably ever have. I just love listening to Voices in Harmony or chamber singers of the concert choir, and I'm going to dearly miss being on stage with the great actors we have at Northeast. I'll never forget how my friend became a great swimmer, even though he was determined to play soccer when we were little. But I think the most important memory I'll have, and the most important one I'm going to take away from high school, is going to be people's treatment of me. As you can tell, I'm in a wheelchair. But every single person in this room has been nothing but great to me. I've never been made fun of. I've never been made to feel like I'm not good enough or that I can't do anything that everyone else does. Adults usually go out of their way to help me. I understand they only want to help, but most of the time I'd prefer to do it by myself. However, every single high school student has usually asked first, and if I said I could do it, they've let me try. You've all been very supportive of me, and have made it easy for me to return to school, and for that I have to thank you all. But enough of this nostalgia. We all know that we've got memories of high school that we'll keep forever, but what are we going to do tomorrow, when it's our first day of not being a high school student? How will it feel to wake up and know that we're not in high school anymore? We're moving up in the world right now, at this very moment. We're becoming adults faster every day. So what are we going to do? I've already talked about the talent that we have in my class. All of the singers and actors, writers and builders, and artists. But what does it all add up to? To me, it means that this world is in for some changes. We students have been vocal about what we think is right and wrong. If we see an injustice, we try and change it. I can remember the debates we had in my CI class. And I can remember all of the different things that we've talked about. So what is the future going to be like? Well, I think it's going to be a very loud and a very changing world. I think that there are going to be revolutions in lots of things. Society, science, religion, work, even in people. According to my doctors, medicine is moving so fast that in the next couple of decades, they'll probably figure out how to get me to walk again. My friends tell me in the next couple of decades they're going to start their own companies. My father tells me in the next couple of decades he's going to seem a lot smarter for the things that he has told me. Well, I hope so, because I'd love to walk, and I'd love to work for one of my friends, and while my dad, well, maybe it's just us who get smarter. I think the future will be full of more opportunities. I think we'll make sure that everyone gets a chance to do something that they've always wanted to do. Since we've had to create so many of our own opportunities, I think we'll make sure that others have them too. All in all, I think our future is going to be one that is wide open. Currently, a lot of doors are closed to keep something quiet or to keep someone out. I think a lot of those doors are not only going to be open, but destroyed. When my classmates change something, we make sure that it stays changed. So what does it all add up to? The past and the future? What's going to make them so special? I think that it's the things that I've learned in high school that are going to make both of these important. It's the things we've all learned. I'd like to share with you some of the things that I've learned, not only from teachers, but from all of you. The first, and maybe the most important thing I've learned, is to always get a locker in a good place. It makes things so much easier. But one of the other things that I've learned that's very important to me is that everyone has something to share. You've all heard that cliche, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, I don't think the cover or even the title is important. I think you should never judge a book by who wrote it. It doesn't matter who your parents are, where you're from, or even what your native language is. It's who you are and what you have to say that are important. I've had the opportunity to work with some of the greatest educators ever. These teachers put everything into their classes, and they get their real pay from seeing the light come on in students' eyes. Some of the classes I've had have been groundbreaking for me, like Mrs. Seidel's women's literature class. I could hardly sit still reading some of the books in that class. The injustices I learned about made me want to run outside and start shouting at people. I never realized a lot of those things. Or Mr. Perry's DIFCI class for a semester. Even though I wasn't there for 2 months of it, when I was there, I heard stories that had me gnashing my teeth. In that class, I learned that you had to look at another point of view before you decided something. But my teachers aren't the only ones that have really opened my eyes. If you look around the room, you see so much diversity that it boggles the mind. And yet we all made it through these 4 years together, and we haven't killed each other. And we're all sitting here together now. Can you say teaching tolerance? We all are who we are no matter what anyone else says. And we've learned to accept each other. I look at the people that I talk with all the time, or the activities that I'm involved in. The groups of people that I've met are all vastly different. Yet I've been allowed to hang out with them, to participate with them, and be a part of what they do. I've been taught how to dance by my peers. I've learned how to play football better from my peers. I've had peers help me out when I'm learning, and I've had peers that I've helped learn things. There are people that will always lend you a shoulder to cry on, and there are peers who will always make you laugh if you're feeling down. My classmates already know so much, whether or not we realize it. I think we are all growing up to be not only good men and women, but good humans. So when we look around this room today and see all the people who are going to walk across this stage, we should be amazed. And when you see the misty eyes of parents and classmates, you should know why. These are truly an amazing group of people. We've shared some great memories, and the future that we're going to build is going to be a great one. I can guarantee it. The things that I have learned from so many of you are enough to fill libraries. If you went to the rock show, you would have heard Voices in Harmony sing It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday by Boyz II Men. Well, they're right. It is very hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And it's hard to say goodbye to all of my friends who will be going away to college. It's going to be hard to say goodbye to all the teachers and administrators and staff that I've gotten to be friends with. It's going to be incredibly easy to say goodbye to waking up every morning and dragging myself to school. But it'll be hard to say goodbye to seeing those people every day and getting to make jokes, eat lunch, hear stories, cry and love with all of you. But even though I'm going to be sad when I say goodbye, I'm very glad and excited to say hello to a brilliant tomorrow. And I'm glad that I'm here to say goodbye. It's not easy making it through high school, and it wasn't easy making it through my accident. But we all have made it. We've all gotten here. And so it's with a heavy heart, but a very light soul that I say goodbye to all of you. Goodbye, class of 2001, the beginning of a new millennium and the end of the way things used to be.